I got to her office party early. I was holding flowers, her favorite kind, those soft pink lilies that smell like candy. I was smiling to myself, thinking how happy she'd be to see me. I had even written a little note tucked into the bouquet. Just because I love you. The hallway was quiet. I figured I'd find her before the crowd showed up. And then I saw them. Amara and Ken. They didn't see me. They were too close, too lost. His hand was on her waist. Her face was tilted up. Then, they kissed. Not just a quick kiss, not a mistake. A kiss that said something real. A kiss that made my heart stop. I just stood there. My hands were shaking. The flowers slipped from my fingers, hitting the floor without a sound. I think I forgot how to breathe. Fortunately, her eyes found mine and she quickly pulled away. She froze with her mouth open like she didn't know what to say. Ken looked like a deer caught in headlights. I didn't wait. I turned around and walked out. One step, then another. Each one felt heavy, like I was carrying something too big to hold. I didn't say a word, because what could I say? I think she ran after me because I heard the clicking of heels, but I didn't look back. I just wanted to get out of that environment. My name is Derek. My wife's name is Amara. To everyone else, we were the perfect couple. We both had great jobs. We dressed well, smiled at the right moments, and made people say things like power couple lot every time we walked into a room. I run a business I built from the ground up. Amara works in a top firm, smart, charming, always surrounded by people who adore her. And now, we were expecting our first child. I was over the moon about becoming a dad. I'd already built the crib, and we had picked out names. Our baby shower was just around the corner, and I was counting down the days like a little kid waiting for Christmas. But then I saw her, pregnant, and kissing her colleague like I didn't exist. Like we didn't exist. How does a woman carrying a child, our child, do that? How do you press your lips against someone else's with a baby growing inside you? Where's the shame? Not even for the baby. That's the part that burns the most. That night, I drove without thinking. Just turned the key, hit the road, and didn't look back. I didn't care where I was going. I didn't even care if I crashed. My hands were tight on the wheel. My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. My chest felt like something heavy was sitting on it. I couldn't breathe right. Then I saw the headlights in my mirror. Her car. She had followed me. By the time I pulled into our driveway, she was already getting out of her car, calling my name. "Derek, please, just listen to me," she said. I walked straight into the house and didn't say a word, but she came in after me and slammed the door shut. She was crying now, really crying. Her voice shaky, face red, her hands rubbing her belly like that would make me forgive her. "It wasn't real," she said. "It was truth or dare. We were all playing a stupid game. It didn't mean anything, I swear." I stood still, staring at the wall behind her. I didn't want to look at her. If I looked at her, I'd break. She kept talking fast, as if saying it enough times would make it true. Then she pulled out her phone, called some of her coworkers on speaker. They backed her up, one after the other. "Oh yeah," the first one said. "It was just a dare, silly party stuff." "Everyone was doing crazy things," said another. "It was harmless fun." I nodded slowly. I even gave a little smile and told her I believed her. I attributed it to stress from my job and the preparations for the baby, and how scared I was of losing her to another man. I reached out and touched her hand. She looked so relieved, so grateful. But within me, I was still screaming, and just couldn't let it go. My heart was breaking into quiet pieces, and somewhere deep in my gut, something told me this wasn't over. That story didn't sit right. It was too neat, too fast, and too fake. I didn't know whether to trust my wife of over 5 years or trust my gut. Anyways, I hugged her and pretended everything was fine. Within me, I didn't forgive her. I just decided to be more vigilant and start paying attention. Ever since the office party, my wife Amara seems to be on guard at all moments. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me, or maybe I was trying so hard to confirm my suspicions. But some things just wouldn't sit right. The way she avoided my eyes, the way she flinched when I walked into a room, how her phone was always face down, and how she took long calls behind closed doors. It was like something underneath the surface was rotting, and I could smell it. So I stopped listening to her words and started watching her actions. One night when she was in the shower, I took her phone and cloned it. Every message, every call, every app. Now I had it all on a hidden screen of my own. I also placed a tracker on her car. Tiny. Invisible. She'd never notice. It felt wrong, like I was turning into someone else. But something inside me, something raw and sharp, kept whispering, "You need to know. You need to be sure." And then, the truth started to slip through the cracks. I watched her drive to places that didn't make sense. Hotels, restaurants way out of town, and parking in strange spots for hours. I read messages filled with half-truths, plans that didn't match her calendar, phone numbers she saved under fake names like Linda and Dr. M. But the worst part, the way her words to Ken never sounded like a game. They sounded real, soft, and familiar. Like this wasn't the first time. Like it had been going on. For a while. Every new piece felt like a pin in my chest. Still, I kept quiet. Pretended everything was fine, and smiled when I had to. But in the background, I was collecting proof because I knew something bigger was coming, and I had to be ready for it. Then came the night I'll never forget. I had the tracker on. I saw her driving again, late, almost 9 p.m. She told me she had a work dinner and a late meeting with a client. But I knew better. So I followed from a distance. No lights, no sound, just me and the dark. She pulled into a hotel, not a restaurant, and not an office. A hotel. I parked across the street and waited. And then, just like that, Ken showed up. He walked up to her car, leaned in, and kissed her. Not a quick kiss, not a dare, not a joke. A real kiss. Software long, like he missed her, like they'd done it 100 times before. Then they walked in together, hand in hand, like I didn't even exist. They didn't come out for hours. I sat there the whole time, staring at the door. I was holding the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white while my chest hurt. My throat felt like it was closing, and I wanted to scream. I wanted to run in there and drag them both out. But I didn't, and so I made a plan. A week later, I told Amara I'd signed us up for a health package at a private clinic. Just routine tests, blood, pressure, vitamins, all of that. She didn't ask questions. She even smiled and said it was sweet of me to care so much. She didn't know I'd asked for something extra. A paternity test. A non-invasive prenatal paternity, NIPP test. One that would quietly check if the baby growing inside her was mine, or someone else's. She sat beside me at the clinic, laughing softly, flipping through magazines. I watched her and how calm she looked, how relaxed, and how easy it was for her to lie. I nodded and smiled when she looked at me. But inside, I was holding my breath, because I knew that soon, everything would change. The results came in a few days later. I had been waiting like a man sitting on the edge of a cliff, hoping the ground wouldn't give way, but knowing deep down that it probably would. I went to pick it up, and it came in a plain white envelope. Nothing special about it on the outside, But inside, everything might change. I sat alone in my car with the envelope in my hands. I didn't open it right away. I just stared at it. My hands were sweaty. My fingers shook a little. The world felt too still. Then I took a deep breath and ripped it open. And there it was. Derek is excluded as the biological father of the fetus. Probability of paternity, 0%. Just like that. Simple, cold, printed in black and white. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't punch the steering wheel like they do in movies. I just sat there. My heart didn't even race. It slowed down, like it had given up, like it didn't know what to do anymore. I thought of the baby, the one I had talked to at night, rubbed through Amara's belly, the one I had already started loving, buying toys for and planning names with her. And now, that baby wasn't mine, not even a little. It wasn't just a kiss anymore, or a lie, or a silly party game. It was a full life she had built behind my back, a secret life, and I was done pretending. Right then, I made a promise to myself. I wouldn't hide this. Not from her, not from Ken, and not from anyone. If Amara wanted to lie in front of everyone, then she would have to face the truth the same way. I was going to show them all, and I knew exactly when, and exactly how. The baby shower was coming up. We had been planning it for weeks. Colors, food, games, the perfect playlist. She wanted it to be big, fancy, and beautiful. It took everything in me not to confront her about the test result. I booked the best venue and made sure the decorations were perfect. I smiled at her like everything was fine. I even helped pick out the cake. She had no idea. Every time she laughed, every time she kissed me or rubbed her belly while talking to our friends about our future, I just nodded and watched calmly and quietly, but counting down the days. I had one special gift planned. It looked like any other gift, wrapped in gold paper, tied with a bow. But inside wasn't a onesie or a toy. It was the truth. The day came, bright, sunny, full of joy. Friends and family filled the room, laughing, hugging, taking pictures. Amara walked in, glowing in her white dress, her baby bump out front like a crown. Everyone clapped. Everyone smiled. I smiled too. We cut the cake. We played the silly games. People made little speeches about love and family and new beginnings. Cameras flashed everywhere. Then I stood up, glass in hand. "Thank you all for being here today," I said, voice steady. "It truly means a lot, not just to me, but to all of us." I paused, letting the moment settle. I scanned the room, smiles, laughter, glasses half full. Then my eyes landed on Amara. "This day," I continued, "is not just about welcoming new life. It's about what builds life. Trust, loyalty, and love." Another pause. A shift in the room. "It's funny," I said with a wry smile, "how the most fragile things are often invisible, like air, like silence, like truth." I walked over to her and handed her the neatly wrapped gift. She smiled, unsure, and began to open it. "As you open that," I said softly, "know that every gift carries a story. Some are joyful. Some are enlightening." She peeled back the wrapping sheet and brought out a frame. She read the words loudly without realizing, and her smile vanished as quickly as it came. I had framed the result of the paternity test and given it to her as a present. Gasps filled the room. Someone dropped a glass. Chairs creaked as people turned. Amara looked up at me, pale as a ghost. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her hands dropped the frame. It hit the floor with a sharp crack. I stepped forward. "You lied to me," I said. "You let me believe this child was mine. You let me plan a life with you. And Ken," I turned to face him, standing frozen near the food table, his fork halfway to his mouth. "You helped." No one spoke, and no one moved. I raised my glass one last time. To truth, I said. To closure. Then I walked out, slowly and calmly. No yelling and no tears. Just silence behind me. And a room full of people who now knew exactly who Amara really was. And me? I never looked back. I walked out of the baby shower, sure I had won. I have exposed the lie, and everything feels like it's finally coming to an end. The weight of the truth is heavy, but it's a relief. That's when I hear my name. Derek. Amara's voice stops me dead in my tracks. Her tone isn't the pleading, defensive one I've grown used to. It's soft and almost broken. I didn't turn around right away and was ready to tell her off. She steps closer, her voice shaking as she says, I never wanted it to go this far, but there's something I need you to know. Something you won't want to hear, since we're all about the truth. My heart beats faster. What now? What more could she possibly have to say? When I finally turn, I see her holding a letter, an envelope. There was something about the look in her eyes, vulnerable, almost lost, that made me hesitate. Please, Derek, she whispers, just read it. Reluctantly, I take the envelope from her and open it. As I read, a deep pit begins to form in my stomach. Amara's voice echoed in my ears as I processed the contents. It's a medical report, a set of results from a test we'd both undergone a while ago. The truth hits me like a punch. The letter explains that I am infertile. The tests had confirmed it a while ago, but Amara had kept it a secret. She hadn't told me because she didn't know how. She didn't know how to face me with the truth. I am so sorry, Derek, she said. When I found out about your infertility, I was scared that you might resent yourself for not being able to give me the family we have always dreamed of. I decided it was better not to tell you and figure out something to do. I know I messed up by cheating on you, but I couldn't bring myself to tell you it wasn't yours. Not after seeing the excitement in your eyes when we talked about our lives as future parents. She said. I stood there, completely still, the letter trembling in my hands. The realization sinks in slowly, crushingly. She hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. She had kept something from me that affected both of our futures. This whole time, I thought the betrayal was only about Amara's affair with Ken, but it's far more complicated. I realize the hurt is layered with my own grief, not just over her infidelity, but over the unspoken truth that she'd been carrying this weight alone for so long. For the first time, I don't know what to say. He can't. My thoughts are a whirlwind. My mind keeps returning to the baby, the one that's not mine, and the way Amara has been living with this secret, trying to protect me from the pain of a truth I never knew. And the worst part? I didn't even know I was infertile. Never had a clue. But now, everyone does. Maybe if I'd asked her quietly, away from the noise, the whine, the damn string lights, maybe she would have told me the truth. Maybe I'd still have some dignity left. But instead, I blew it all up in front of a room full of people who will never forget the look on her face. Or mine. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She just said it again, calmly, like a judge passing sentence. You can't have children. The silence after that felt like a funeral. Still dazed, throat dry, I stumbled out the door. Not walking, running, not just from the wreckage of the party, but from the version of me that no longer exists. If that twist hit you in the gut, just wait. There's more where that came from. Subscribe to Scars and Stories for dark drama, messy secrets, and revenge served ice cold. You won't believe what's coming next.